Hello, Collective. I'm back with another installment. So, today we're going to talk about going within because this is very important and it took me a long time to learn this lesson. Um, you need to go within yourself to really figure out who you are so that you can give yourself your own validation. No one else can give you the validation that you give yourself. Your self love, the way you view yourself, doesn't come from other people. It comes from you, from your soul, from divine, who you are, a divine being. We are all divine beings. So I want you to go within yourself and find the part of you that is the truth and stand in that. Don't ever let anybody tell you who you are. You find out who you are. You use your inner wisdom to discover your own self. And once you figure out who you are and love yourself and give yourself that self love, then you can't lose. You'll know the difference between right and wrong. You'll know who's good for you and who's bad for you. And you'll know when you should do something and when you should not. Because you know yourself. You love yourself. You you know who you are and you know what you want and you're going for that. So people that like us that are victims of abuse, we have struggled with self-love because we think that we get it from other people, but we don't. It comes from within, it comes from our soul, it comes from God. So what I want everybody to think about and go inside. Spend some time alone in nature, ground yourself, and figure out who it is that you truly are. Like in the last video where we talked about your authentic self, you need to acknowledge that person. You need to tell yourself, this is who I am, and I will not take anything less than what I deserve. So, what you have to do is you have to stand on that. You don't let other people's opinions sway you. You be you no matter what other people do or say. You have to be strong. You have to know yourself. You have to know your worth. You have to stand in your power as to who you are. Because all these people that have been abusing us all our lives, we let them because we didn't know who we were. We thought we were who they said, but we're not. We are who we say. We are who our soul says, who divine made us to be. And we have to stand in our power and not let anybody sway us for any reason. If it takes a long time for you to figure out who you are, what you're worth, what you really want in life, what were you brought here to do? Because everything's a lesson. We are here to do something. We are not just randomly here. And that's one of the reasons why victims of abuse, we have a special place in Divine's heart because he brought us here and put us through all these lessons for a reason. And we're going to find out what that reason is. But first, we have to know ourselves. What do they say in the Bible? Know thine self. Okay? So you know yourself, you figure out who you are, you figure out what you want, you figure out why you're here, and you need to figure out who it is that you're going to be from now on. And you have to be that person, no matter what anybody says. I don't care what your boss says. I don't care what your husband, your wife, your children, your friends. I don't care what anyone says. You know who you are. You're a divine being God brought you here for a reason, and you have to figure out who you are so that you know how to proceed in life. Because if not, we're just going to keep repeating the same cycles over and over until you learn your lessons. So if you go within and you decide to figure out who you are, what you're about, what you've already learned in life, what you need to do with your life. Like if you want to get married and have children, how are you going to raise them if you're a victim of abuse? You can't raise your children in an abusive atmosphere. You have to stand strong and show your children what kind of person they need to be. You need to stand up for yourself and be your divine self so that your children can learn to be themselves by your example. Okay, so if you're living in a bad situation and you have children, get out. I don't care what it takes for you to get out because what you're going to teach them in a bad situation is how to grow up and lead the same life that you led. I see so many people trying to be their mothers that have um, their mothers telling them, like, I'm sorry I wasn't there for you as a child, or, I'm sorry I wasn't the mother I was supposed to be. And you go on without knowing yourself and you turn into your mother. You make the same mistakes. You repeat the same cycle, generational cycle over and over again. You have to stop that. You have to look at what's going on around you and say, this is not for me. Okay. When you know it is not for you and you know who you are, you move forward, you vibrate higher, you move forward to your better self, your higher self, and live a higher vibrational life. That's what God wants you to do. He wants you to be the person He put you here on earth for. Okay? So, what we need to do is we need to start looking within. And this took me a very long time. It took me decades. Okay, so I'm trying to give you a shortcut here. All right. So, what you need to do is you need to figure out your plan. What is your plan? What is your future going to be like? Is it going to be like now? Is it going to be like when you were a kid? Was it Are you going to live in an abusive situation for the rest of your life? Is that what you're going to do? You're going to raise children to learn how to be abusers or learn them to accept abuse? No, we don't want that. We want the opposite for them. So we go inside and we look to the future and we see, like it was very clear to me growing up. The one thing I always said to myself is, I will never be my mother. Okay, so when it came my time to have children, I made sure that I was not repeating the cycles of my mother's abuse towards me. I made sure I never said the things she said. I never did the things she did. I never treated my children like they weren't acceptable as they are. I always urged them to be themselves. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to learn to be yourself. But first, you have to know what that is. And you have to look ahead in life and say to yourself, okay, this is me right now, but in 10 years, 5 years, 10 years, do I want to be this same person? You know how I told you from the beginning that we must never stop learning? We have to learn. And when we learn, we increase our knowledge. And as we increase our knowledge, we increase the chances of success immeasurably. Okay. So even now, you know, I'm still learning, I'm still taking classes. I learn everything that I can. I read like over 200 books a year. Okay. Because having knowledge, gaining knowledge is how you grow. Now, if you want to grow spiritually, then you need to establish a relationship with divine, and you need to talk to him and let him show you the way. Like, what are the signs he's showing you? Should you stay? No, he's going to say no. You have to get out. You have to be independent. You The one thing I could say about being in a marriage is never let one person control the finances, especially if it's the other person. Okay? Unless you're the abuser, then you shouldn't have control. Always have your own money. Always have your own bank account. Have your own job. Don't stay at home and depend on your husband or your wife's income. You have to learn to be independent. So when the time comes for you to move, to get out of Dodge, when things all fall down around you, you've got this. You have the knowledge, you have the resources, and you have the mentality to move ahead. And that's what we're going to do here. Okay? So, here's what happened to me. If you watched the last video, then you know I was married, my second marriage, to a very abusive man. And when my son Max was born, I could not let him grow up in that atmosphere. I did not want him to learn to be an abuser. I did not want him to learn to be an alcoholic like his father was. I did not want him to learn to be greedy, to be selfish. I wanted him to have love in his heart for all people and to care about his friends and humanity, like people in general. Just, you have to open your heart and love people unconditionally, regardless of who they are. Like, you can't judge a book by its cover. Just like you don't want to be judged, other people don't want to be judged. So open your heart, listen to divine, and learn to be open hearted. Like, have strong roots. Know what you know. Let those roots grow as to who you are so that you can be strong. And then open your heart and your mind to what is around us, to what divine has given us, to appreciate, to love, to give. We need to learn those things. Humanity needs to learn those things. It's not just us. It's not all about us. It's about humanity. Humanity needs to stop being so selfish, so single-minded. Humanity needs to start to look at everybody else and open their heart and their mind to be better people. I mean, that's the whole point, in our lives. We need to be better, do better, think better. It's no matter what. Like, if people knock you down, get up, keep on going. Be the best person that you can be, but never let anybody step on you. You are not to be under anybody's foot unless it's God. Okay? You don't let people take advantage of your open heart. Don't give to people who are greedy, who want things but don't deserve them. And you'll know. I mean, I can't tell you how many times people have been greedy and abused my open heart, my open mind for their own gain. Like, I learned that lesson so many times, I can definitely teach it. So I want you to take stock of who you are now, of what you want to do next, especially with your knowledge. Like, grow, learn, make sure one job, you go one job, then you want to go to a job that's better, or you're in one relationship and that relationship is just not good. You need to get out of that relationship because somebody better will come along. Trust me, they will come along. So I eventually got out of my bad relationship, but I had to come back after my husband had a major heart attack. And I had to take care of him for 4 years, and then he finally passed away. And I thought I was free, that all my abuse was done. Uh, my mother was dead, everybody was dead. Seriously, everybody was dead, except for my two sons and my daughter in law. We were the only part of family that we had. And I thought, okay, now you see, I'm going to start my life over again and I'm not going to have any abuse. But what happens? Oh, the first person I meet is a very mentally ill person. He's like a sociopath, a narcissistic person. Um, really, a sociopath. He actually said he was going to kill me and then kill his kids. Um, so yeah, well, we had to get rid of that person. And even though I spent almost a decade alone without having someone else, which I do get someone else at the end, and I will get to that story one day. Um, we have to, if we need to sit alone, if we need to work alone, if we need to not be in public for a while, maybe just work your job and come home and commune with nature, commune with the divine, and learn about ourselves and never stop learning. Like if you're, your days off, pick up a book, go on the internet. Man, if I'd have had the internet when I was a kid, I would be in so much of a better position than I am today because when I grew up, we had the World Book Encyclopedia and we had the local library. That was all we had. There was no internet. There were no cell phones. There were not things like people growing up today. They have all the information of the entire world at their fingertips on their smartphone. And you have no excuse why you can't learn every day. Learn on your day off. You have no excuse. The information is now at your fingertips in your home, through your smartphone, through your laptop, through your computer, whatever. You have no excuse not to learn better skills or not to be able to investigate maybe something you're curious about, or look at articles on abuse and read them and see what they're saying, see where you're going wrong, and don't keep repeating the pattern because abuse is a horrible cycle of patterns that you keep repeating over and over and over again. And you may even have good people come in your life, but you keep repeating that, like you run from them because they're scary. Okay, you run because you're not familiar with that kind of love. Like the only love you know is abusive. Okay, but you work on yourself. If you want to learn about how to get out of abuse, get on your smartphone, get on your laptop, get on your computer, research, read articles. There's so many things. If you're with a narcissist, go and read about narcissism, read about the people, the steps that a narcissist goes through, read about those kind of situations so you can get yourself out, because this is really important articles on things that are called empaths versus narcissists. They attract each other. Like I'm an empath and I attract narcissists, that I can tell you. um, you have to be very careful. They have to be handled in a certain way. You cannot just treat a narcissist any which way, okay? But you can go online, you can learn. You can learn how to stop cycles of abuse. You can learn, you could teach your children things that I could never have learned as a child because that information wasn't out there. Always teach your kids, always have them learn something. If they show an interest in something, you show an interest in that. Never not show an interest in what your child is interested in. You're their backup. You stand behind them. You support them 100% in their interests, and make sure that they have a great childhood, but they feel like they had the support, they had the mother that was there, or the father that was there, or both the parents that were there, that supported them and gave them a good foundation. Because that's one of the things that victims of abuse need. We need to make a good foundation. Okay? And so we're going to make a good foundation by starting over. And when we start over, we cannot have anything to do with people that are abusive. We have to throw those people out. We have to move away from those people, whether it's physically, mentally, or what, emotionally. You know, I mean, some of those people are very close to you. You don't want to move away, but you have to. You have to let those people go out your life. You have to get yourself in a place where there is no abuser or narcissist or sociopath, or there's so many different mental health issues out there nowadays. But you have to get yourself to a good place. And when you get yourself to a good place, then you make a foundation. You build your life, build your foundation strong, something that you can stand on, that no one can come in and destroy. You make that foundation, whether you make it yourself, like I had to do, or if you make it with someone else. If you're fortunate to have met somebody that is on your level, that understands the things you understand, that wants the things you want, you make a foundation with them, and that foundation, you make it unbreakable. If you're not happy in your marriage, get out. Because I can tell you, my mother and father had a miserable marriage. Um, my father once told me about, shouldn't my mom and dad get divorced, and since he made all the money and she stayed at home because he wouldn't let her work, but shouldn't he get all the money and she get none? And I said, I'm not in this fight, and went out the door because I wasn't in that fight. Okay, so what I want is I want you to build a strong foundation. If you're alone raising kids, if you're by yourself, if you have no partner, um, or you don't have good friends that are willing to help you, build your own foundation. You can do it. I've done it. You can do it. Yes, it took me a long time, but I still did it. In the end, everything came out for the best. Okay? So please look yourself. You look inner inside yourself and know who you are. Know what kind of person you are. And if you're not the person that you want to be, set about the motion to change that, to change into the person you want to be. If you're out in the streets and you're having sex with every person that comes along, that's not an upright person. Okay, that's some kind of sex addiction. You need to stop. That all addictions need to stop. Okay? You have to remember your body is supposed to be cared for. It's supposed to be clean. It's supposed to be taken care of. And that is your job to do. It's your body. Somebody else shouldn't be doing that for you. You need to do that for yourself. Okay? So make sure you don't have any addiction. Make sure you're not in any abusive situations. Even if you're alone, you can raise your children. You learn and learn and learn. And then at the end of the day, when your children are grown, you can look at them and say, I did a good job. Okay? Because you knew who you were. And and even though you're in the process of still learning, because I'm still learning, um, You do the best job you can do so that your children, your family, or your grandchildren, or whoever, nieces, nephews, I don't have any of those, but you know, make sure that you're a good example for them. So when you look into yourself, who do you see? Do you see somebody that is the person that you want to be? Is the future that you want to have? Is your relationship the relationship that you need? If not, work on yourself. Talk to divine. Tell him to show you signs, to help you. God will never tell you no. Ask for assistance, and and don't ignore the signs. Bring that into your life. If God says move away, because God knows what's ahead. So you need to follow in the directions you are led, not your abusive directions, not what you've always known that has led you to be abused, not addictions, not in that directions. I've seen people with so many different addictions, and they try and fix their addiction with another addiction. That doesn't work. You have to go cold turkey and say, stop, I'm done. I'm done with that. Okay. I want to be a person, maybe not have wealth, but have enough for yourself to be comfortable. Okay. If you're constantly, you know, going from job to job to job, you're not stable. You need stability. So find the person that you are supposed to be. Look inside, figure out who that is, get knowledge to learn how to be better, and go for it. Don't be afraid. Because if you're in an abusive situation, what worse situation are you going to be besides dead? Okay? So if you're in an abusive situation, find your way to get out. You can go on your smartphone and look at all these nonprofit companies that want to help you. They really want to help you. So find the knowledge, help yourself, let God help you, let Him show you the way. Know inside of yourself that you're doing the wrong thing, you're with the wrong person, you're doing the wrong job. Your friends aren't the people you're supposed to be hanging out with. Fix those things, because until you fix those things, your life isn't going to go right. And you don't want to go to your grave with regrets. You want to go to your grave knowing that you were the best person that you could possibly be, that you help people, that you could look back on your life and say, I did it. I did it. I was my best self. And God is going to be proud of you. So you have nothing to worry about. But please don't keep going down the same path. That path is not the path that you're supposed to be on. And you know it, but you're still on it. You have to stop. You have to get off the path. I don't care what you have to do. Get off the path. Find your real path. Find the light in the darkness and get on your true path, the one that you were brought here to this earth to walk, and walk that path. No matter how hard it is, no matter what it costs you, you must be the person that you were meant to be. And you are responsible for that. So you talk to God, you find your way and walk it upright, and never ever let anybody tell you otherwise, because only you and God know who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do. So that's my message for today. Help yourself and have your best life. It's all I can tell you is that you're responsible for yourself. You can blame whoever you want, but honestly, you're the person that is responsible. So I bid you adieu with love and light. Until next time, I love you guys, my collective. There's not a lot of you, but maybe one day there'll be more. I want to spread my message. I want to help people, especially people who are in abusive situation or were abused as a child, grew up with some kind of skewed perception of reality. Um, I want to help you not walk that path anymore because I would have paid every cent I ever made if somebody would help me. So I'm telling you, the only person besides God that's going to help you is you. You are responsible for the situation you're in. You got yourself in there, you get yourself out. So until later, I bid you be well, be happy, love and light, and I'll see you in the next video.